Welcome to the Storytelling with Data podcast, where listeners around the world learn to be better storytellers and presenters. We'll cover a wide range of topics that will help you effectively show and tell your data stories. So get ready to separate yourself from the mess of 3D exploding pie charts and deliver knockout presentations. And with that, here's Cole.
Hi, this is Cole. Thanks for tuning in. Throughout the many workshops we've conducted around the world over the past decade and change, there's a sentiment that comes up repeatedly. I wish I'd learned this sooner. Where would I be today if I'd learned these important lessons about turning numbers into pictures and telling stories with data in school? And while this is a great compliment to the work we do and has meant I've been able to build a successful business, it's left me wondering, why don't we teach this sooner? On top of it, every day I watch and work with my own children, helping them learn, grow, and interact in the world. And of course, we use data and graphs, but what about other kids? Their classmates, or those in schools or families where data and math are not a focal point? How are they going to learn this superpower? I wrote Storytelling with Data 10 years ago. And part of the driving force then was wanting to share the lessons more broadly than I could do as a single person traveling and teaching workshops. I had no idea then just how much this book would help my ideas spread. It's taught at hundreds of universities around the world. It's been translated into more than 30 languages. I am never going to get over the magical feeling of meeting someone new and then learning that they were somehow influenced by the book. I do have a clear ambition for my next book. In the way that Storytelling with Data has spread data storytelling lessons to grown-ups and university students around the world, I have high hopes that this next title is going to do that for the next generation. It started with an idea that was first seeded as I experienced my babies growing into curious kids, which I then notebooked ideas for a few years, then prototyped and refined with the input of my kids and many other generous individuals. All of this culminates today, and I am thrilled to share it with you. Today, that's September 4th, 2024, marks the release of my fourth book with Wiley, and it's titled Daphne Draws Data, a Storytelling with Data Adventure. I wrote it for a younger audience, targets ages 6 to 9, but can extend in either direction. I've even had early reviewers joke that they know colleagues who could use it too. With it, I aim to inspire a love of numbers, data, graphs, and being yourself. Daphne Draws Data is the story of a delightful dragon who has a unique talent of turning numbers into pictures, helping solve problems for a colorful cast of characters, monkeys in the jungle, some crustaceans in the sea, even aliens in outer space. And Daphne helps them all discover how data can save the day. The book is beautifully illustrated. I was so lucky to have the chance to work with award-winning illustrator John Skewes. If you've seen my keynotes over the years, you may actually be familiar and know of my fondness for the Larry Gets Lost series that he authored and illustrated. It's a favorite of my kids that I've incorporated into a few of my talks. And I was thrilled when John agreed to illustrate Daphne. Over the past year, we've worked together and iterated, and I really must say the result is stunning. And the reaction to the book has been so positive. I know this is in a large part due to the pictures. As we know, pictures are critical in helping make a story memorable. And John has definitely done this with my words. Writing a children's book introduced many new constraints for me as an author. Totally different from many thousands of words in an adult business book. Here I had just 32 pages and not very many words to share the story of my beloved dragon and her adventures. And while it was fun to create a dragon that didn't want to be scary or breathe fire, It was more important to me to highlight that she could be herself, even if that meant that she was more comfortable with numbers and turning them into pictures, using them to unravel mysteries while making friends, and maybe even saving the day. Children, just like adults, are exposed to more and more data every day. And it's this next generation that is going to have even more expectations to interpret and present data effectively as a basic and fundamental skill, akin to reading and writing. For me, what I've seen in the education system, it's not preparing them for that, or at least it's not preparing them as early as I think it could. I've been doing a number of interviews lately, trying to spread word about Daphne Draws Data. And there's one line of questioning that's coming up over and over again that I didn't necessarily anticipate going into this. And the question is, when do kids start fearing or disliking math? And what is causing that? I don't know the answer, but I suspect it has to do with how these skills are portrayed in pop culture. Movies, books, TV shows, where the kid who likes math is often a nerd without any friends. Or I was stunned, actually, the other day when my daughter came home from the 3rd grade having been exposed to a book called I'm Trying to Love Math. So I think she does love math, in a large part because I've helped her see the value of it in really tangible and applicable ways. But introducing kids to a book called I'm Trying to Love Math has this supposition built in that they don't already, or that if they do, they maybe should question that. And I harp on this one book, but I'm not trying to be critical of that book specifically or of the school at all. This is a symptom of a much larger problem. And I think that is such a failed opportunity in terms of it breathes fire into this misconception versus busting that myth and really working to make math and numbers something that are viewed as magical and powerful. I think kids are at a prime age. They have so many questions because they are trying to fill in the puzzle pieces to understand themselves and to understand the world around them. So it's really at this young age that we can applaud and help them hone those skills. Really teach them to appreciate and love that curiosity and understand how they can frame their questions so that they can collect information and answer them for themselves. And if they draw some data as part of that, that's even better. What if we help kids collect information on their screen time versus outdoor playtime and their moods? What if kids could come to their own conclusions about screen time? That could be extremely empowering. And that's just one example. There are so many everyday situations that we could bring an entirely new lens to by helping kids ask questions, collect and explore data, and draw insights. And that is really my hope for Daphne, that we can ignite a lifelong passion for data in young readers. Accompanying the book, we've developed a comprehensive set of resources for educators and parents. We're working to learn more on incorporating Daphne into lesson plans, interactive activities, and guides on how to use graphs to solve problems and better understand the world around us. We believe that these tools will help extend the learning experience and make the concepts stick. As a bit of added fun, I have a feeling there will soon be a Daphne plush in existence as well. Besides today being a special book launch day, today's podcast is our 80th podcast. 80. Over the past 7 years, That's right, 7 years. I, along with other members of the Storytelling with Data team, have been sharing insights, interviews, tips, tricks, as well as our own experiences in trying to improve our ability to communicate more effectively with data in the business world and beyond. All in hopes that we can help you become better data storytellers and achieve everything you set out to. I'm hopeful that you, my global audience of passionate listeners, will help me spread the message that Daphne will bring to children all over the world. And there are a number of ways you can do this. If you're passionate about nurturing a young one's analytical skills, consider supporting this mission. Most easily, you can order a copy of Daphne Draws Data for yourself with the goal of reading it with as many kids who want to hear you share a story as you can. You could order some copies as a gift for your favorite educators or even donate some to nearby schools. As I mentioned, we've even heard that Daphne can be a great resource for colleagues who may be struggling with some of those graph concepts you've been trying to explain. The glossary of graphs at the end of the book will be well suited for that. Spreading the word through reviews on platforms like Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Goodreads is also immensely helpful. We're starting to work with libraries and schools and educators directly. If you know of someone we should be talking to, please let us know. I'm incredibly excited about the potential of this book to change how children view numbers and data. And it's not just about graphs. It's a way to understand and interact with the world. I hope that Daphne Draws Data will be a valuable resource for sparking curiosity and encouraging a thoughtful approach to problem solving. To close, I'll share one final bit of fun. As you might expect, we recorded an audio version of this book, which is also available today. We actually had our kids audition for the various parts, and we put together what I think is a fun recording of this special project. I'm going to share a sample of that with you now. Thanks for listening. Thank you for your support, and please check the show notes for all of the links and visit daphnedrawsdata.com. Thanks for tuning in. Dragons are built for the sky, not sea.
Next, Daphne traveled to outer space.
Mink,
Squeaked an alien as it ducked into a crater.
I'm not dangerous. Besides, the gravity on this planet is so strong, I can hardly lift my feet.
The alien poked out its head.
Hi, I'm Daphne, the data-drawing dragon. I'm traveling the world, and beyond, in search of friends to help.
Suddenly, she was surrounded by aliens,
we've been playing galactic hide and seek, and I won.
said an alien.
Yes, we finally found Richard. But we aren't sure whether our spaceships have enough fuel to get home,
Said another. Daphne walked to each spaceship. She measured the fuel and wrote it down. Then she drew the data.
First, I'll draw a line for the fuel levels, from empty at the bottom to full at the top. I'll add a line for how much fuel it takes to get to the alien's home planet. Then I'll draw the spaceships. The red spaceship's fuel level is about halfway, so I'll mark it here. The blue spaceship has a bit more fuel. The green spaceship definitely doesn't have enough fuel to get home. The fuel level there is the lowest so far. Now for the yellow spaceship. This one has enough fuel. The fuel level is above the line showing how much is needed to get home. I'll still add the purple and orange spaceships to complete the graph. Aha! There is one spaceship with enough fuel. You can use it to return to your planet and bring back more.
An alien turned to Daphne and said,
Daphne, you helped us. Data saved the day. Will you be our friend? Are you here to stay?
I'd love to be your friend, but I can't spread my wings in this spacesuit.
Daphne traveled everywhere. She problem-solved with polar bears in the Arctic.
I drew a bar chart to show how deep each polar bear can dive. The deepest diver reached 6 meters underwater.
She guided gophers underground.
A line graph worked great to compare the effectiveness of digging with different tools. The gopher's own teeth and claws worked best for digging the most tunnels over time.
And even helped some human kids.
A pie chart proved that peacocks are the least favorite pet in Pine Grove Peaks. Cats and dogs are the favorite.